So I want to start here with the PGA Championship when we talk about kind of looking back on what happened. Because what I've learned about the PGA Championship, and I really thought Garrett Morrison of the Fried Egg summed it up well, and I think we have the tweets as well from Garrett. But he was talking about the PGA Championship as a whole in terms of setup and the way it goes, and he said, Kerry Haig would never put it this way, but they don't want the golf course to be the story, even though it always is kind of to start the week. They want to reward a skill that is kind of rewarded week in and week out on the PGA Tour. Hit it far. Don't really care if you hit it accurate. Short game plays, iron play, things like that. And the formula can lead to sleepy Thursdays and Fridays, but it typically makes it tight come Sunday. And by the end of the week, everybody goes, man, what a great PGA Championship. When you look back over the last 6 or 7 PGAs, you were like, it's a who's who of winners. It's been exciting in terms of Sunday golf. We got it again, obviously, this week at Quail Hollow. But my question is, was this a good golf tournament or was this a good golf championship? Because we crowned a great winner. Obviously, we get Scotty winning again in terms of major golf. He wins another golf tournament, another step in the right direction in terms of checking off the list of what you want to win. But it's easy to forget what Thursday and Friday felt like. So, Claire, was this fun for you? Was this a fun 4 days? Did it leave you wanting more? Where are you at in terms of the PGA Championship as a whole?
Okay. My disclaimer here is that I have never been to Quail Hollow. So all the course discussions, I'm kind of that doesn't really apply to me.
Right.
I don't think it was because Sunday, all right, whatever. Thursday, Friday, I'm that's fun for those guys. They get to be on the leaderboard heading into the weekend. Good for them, whatever.
It's
kind of like the guys who screenshot when they're 1 under through 2 after teeing off at 7:40 on Thursday at Augusta. I'm that's awesome. You've got that for life now. But I think Sunday was not fun because it's not fun when Scotty's not playing great, which he wasn't. And what he ended up winning by 5, right? So there was about 30 minutes where I was this is going to get interesting, but it was only because he was playing bad. And then everybody else started playing bad. I like when the guys are playing their best golf and it's close coming 16, 17, 18, and it matters, right? I think that's why, obviously Rory didn't get off to a great start on Sunday at Augusta, but it ended up being a great finish there. And then we had the playoff. This was all right, Scotty's going to get it done. Is it going to be by 4, 5, or 6? Even, I'm on the social team at golf. We had the winners graphic ready to go 3 hours before. I like when we've got 5 and it's
texted the
all
engraver,
right,
by the way.
Yeah. I'm who should we post? I think that's what makes a major really fun, but that's not fair for me to say because if it was Tiger winning by 6, I'd be that was the best major ever. But I just think you got to have something, you got to have it be a little more tight on the leaderboard for it to feel like a really fun Sunday where I like to feel exhausted at the end of a major, emotionally exhausted. And I wasn't.
Patrick, you were there all week. You kind of went out and followed the big boy. You had an interesting experience in terms of running into past people in your life. How was,
not good.
That'll be Claire. That'll be an offline conversation. But
okay, love it.
How was it? It's so easy to think about Sunday. It's so easy to think about, to Claire's point, the 45 minutes where it was Rahm and maybe Rahm's going to win this thing and Scotty can't hit a fairway. And then obviously it was inevitable kind of starting on 12, 13 that it felt like it was going to be over. But was this a fun golf tournament for you in terms of Thursday through Sunday, what you won in a major championship?
I thought it was a pretty tough week to be the PGA of America in general, right? The press conference at the beginning of the week was weird.
Yeah.
Kerry Haig came out and said they're trying to make the media happy. They're trying to make the fans happy. They're trying to make the players happy. And so clearly they're in the people-pleasing business, not really the major championship business, it sounded like after Wednesday. And then you had the weird mud ball situation where preemptively they said they're playing the ball down. You had the non-conforming driver stuff where, Rory obviously didn't talk about it, but at first the PGA of America also didn't have a comment about it either. Then they backtracked on that and released something. And then you think about the atmosphere on the grounds Thursday and Friday. It was sleepy. It was very sleepy. Should have called it Sleepy Hollow. Am I right, Shane? I know you like that one.
Boom. Get them going.
And
the first tee shots, the grandstands were empty.
So sad. Yeah, you had.
It reminded me of the bus issue at the Solheim Cup. I was like, "What's going on here?" But okay, back to you, Patrick.
Literally, no. And I look at the way they set up the grandstands on the golf course and all the key points, 14 through 18. It was pretty much all corporate hospitality, and so the average folk, the common Joe, really didn't have anywhere to go. And
Average folk.
I thought you felt that on the grounds, where there was one point on Friday or Saturday where Hovland made a birdie on 17. And those people are seeing maybe 5 birdies all day with how hard that hole is. And I was walking with Rick Game and he goes, "Oh, was that for par?" I was like, "No, he just made a 30-foot birdie putt and they're barely clapping for the guy." And so I thought all around it didn't feel really like a major championship outside of those 30 minutes on Sunday and that stretch of 5 holes for Scheffler on Saturday. But outside that, I agree. It was kind of sleepy.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think you get lost in who won, which is part of this whole thing, right? I mean, if you get a great champion, it was a great tournament. And I've learned a little bit about there's not a lot of people watching Aaron Rai.
Rye Army is strong.
No, not great, not great. They're probably going to buy another glove in the merch tent or something. But I was thinking a little bit about, the U.S. Open is kind of the golf nerds major, right? Every year we get to go to some incredibly historic golf course, and you kind of look through the golf courses that typically hold a U.S. Open. And for Thursday and Friday, a lot of those days are carried by, we finally get to see an Oakmont, with the best in the world on it, or we finally get to see Shinnecock again that we haven't seen in a while, or Marion's involved. All these historic golf courses, Pinehurst number 2, which I know is going to get a lot of play, but it's a golf course that I think golf nerds love because obviously A, they get to maybe play it if they have enough money to go do it, and B, they kind of understand the history of it and how fun it is to watch the best in the world struggle on that golf course. I feel like the PGA Championship might be the sports fans major. It's typically at a less historic golf course, or a little bit more of the modern day kind of big ballparks, 7,500 meaty. You may have seen it before. You may have seen it in terms of a PGA Tour tournament like Quail Hollow. I think the lineup coming up is pretty good for the PGA Championship. And I think when you kind of look through the next 5-6 years, it's exciting. But I was just thinking, like, U.S. Open Thursday and Friday is dominated by the golf course, and how these people can navigate a place that, was in the rotation in 1974 and 1968 and all that stuff that maybe the everyday golf fan doesn't care about. And then you get on the weekend and it's all about the leaderboard and who's kind of contending. So I am just interested in, does the golf course matter to the everyman? Probably not, to Claire's point. Like, it's fine, whatever. But I do think the golf course is a big part of the first 2 round conversations. And I do sometimes wonder if that's lost a little bit when you go, Patrick, to a place like Quail Hollow that we see every year.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It takes out some of the anticipation going into the week of discovering new things about this golf course, where, I mean, we saw Quail Hollow just last year and kind of everyone knows what to expect from it. So I agree with you there. I think Quail Hollow is a great venue for a major championship with just how big it is and how much infrastructure they can fit. I don't necessarily think it's a great golf course, but like Claire mentioned, like you guys mentioned, 99% of golf fans don't care if the golf course is asking the correct questions or what. They just want to see Bryson, Scotty, and the big guys play well.
I have a question about the course. The Green Mile. Is it a mile long, or is that just a nickname? Like, I need somebody to, is it?
I thought about walking it last year, and I thought about doing it again, but I didn't have the correct equipment with me, a pedometer. I only had my
Did you forget shoes?
Put your watch on. I was going to say, you put your
I don't wear
on.
Apple Watches are out, Shane.
Oh, okay.
But even they're not, these are not super accurate, but you might have gotten a good, I might email somebody from the PGA of America and ask.
Yeah. Yeah.
When playing from the tips, is it a mile?
I mean, the idea, I think the point of it is like the Green Mile being the ode to the kind of the, whatever terminology and how tough it is. And that's the point of it, right? And that's the idea of it. And it's so brutal in terms of a finish. I think that is something interesting about Quail Hollow. It's almost like what it would be the inverse of Augusta, where, players get out early and they can play kind of a tough stretch of golf courses, and they play 10, 11, 12, and then they have opportunity. And the thing about Quail Hollow that is so, I guess, unique is all week the 3 hardest holes are the last 3 holes, so guys can get out running and they can get to 6 or 7 under. We saw that so often. We saw it on Thursday, we saw it on Friday, we saw it on Saturday, and we saw it on Sunday by players, right? Bryson on Saturday, whoever was 7 under, playing 16, 17, 18, and made a couple of bogeys on Thursday. I think Vegas, made a big mistake on 18 on Friday. And then obviously Rahm kind of running into some trouble there at the end on Sunday. Like, every single day, a person was running and then they got clipped or tripped over the course of the Green Mile. So, I mean, I like that. I've said a lot that I like the idea of either I want it to be a birdie fest at the end or I want it to have a fear of bogey. Like, I don't want people to be able to just, comfortably make par and win the golf tournament and not have any fear of bogey. And so, with that said, like, I go to Mito, right, at Southern Hills. It's like, you get to AT&T, man, like, you got to hit some golf shots to make par and win this golf tournament, right? Versus, just having, almost like LACC with Wyndham Clark, where the fairway was 70 yards wide and even kind of the little poofy cut still finds the fairway and he's going to be okay, right? So, I mean, in that regard, I do like Quail Hollow because of the finish, but yeah, it was just kind of a weird week. Like, it just felt like Rory and the Rory's stuff and the drivers, and he played awful. I mean, honestly, like, for Rory at Quail Hollow, it was such a bad week for him. Bryson drove it like as good as I've ever seen anybody drive the golf ball and couldn't wedge a golf ball within 20 feet. Scotty didn't play great, literally for like 2 rounds and wins by 5. I mean, we'll remember this for Scotty, and that's all that's important here. But it just felt like a kind of a strange PGA Championship from start to finish.
Yeah. And I think the best part, honestly, was watching like the Schefflers get to experience everything at the end. Like Bennett going into scoring, all of those little things are things I'll remember, but 100%. I don't know if I'll remember the rest. So
you don't know if you'll remember like the tee shot on 14. Yeah, it's like
exactly. I've already forgotten it actually. So
I'll play with the yardage book and like the fact that he like couldn't give Bennett away was cute. And if you're a dad, you've kind of been there before and know that. Feeling